Wait, what? Stress is good for you? Yes, hormetic stress is good for you. Let's do a deep dive on this daily dose around the one of my favorite talking points, favorite notions that puts a major wrench in the BS Inc. limiting belief scarcity programs that are at the root of so much of our dis-ease and disenchantment in our culture, disconnection. All of the disses can be rectified with hormetic stress, embracing healthy forms of stress. So let's dive in. There's 5 that come to mind that I've built my life around, that I share with my clients, and I want to just invite the possibility that we don't have to do all 5 of these, and but maybe this will inspire you to push your edge in a manner, or see the value in embracing healthy forms of discomfort, healthy forms of stress. The 5 that we're going to talk about are the cold exposure, sauna, heat or the steam room, exercise, breathwork, and fasting. These 5, again, have meant so much to my health and my vitality, and have been a big part of my healing journey. And I invite my clients to lean into their edge, wherever it might be. I mean, we all have different edges. If your edge is getting out for that 10-minute walk after dinner, and maybe a 10-minute walk in the morning to get some of that morning sunlight, great. Start there. And then maybe in time, this strategy might inspire you to lean into your edge and to start to take that to a different level. And but I'm a big believer, we start where we stand, we do what we can, and then we do maybe a little bit more tomorrow. So the cold exposure is so buzzy in our culture. I put a full video about the getting in the cold, Wim Hof, and why this is buzzy in our culture, because it's very low-hanging fruit. Almost all of us bathe every day. We can all twist the knob on that shower and embrace the cold. And the science supports that we get big boosts in dopamine and norepinephrine. Again, dopamine is the molecule of motivation, the molecule of effort. I'm reading this wonderful book called The Molecule of More, and it's framing dopamine as the molecule of effort. Love that. So we'll have more ability to give more effort towards our healing journey, towards our purpose, towards our romantic connections, towards our family commitments, etc. And big boost in norepinephrine. Norepinephrine is focus. We all want to be dialed in, and we all want to have more focus for our purpose, etc. So again, the cold promotes motivation and focus. And less is more when it comes to the cold. I've had a big journey this last year and a half down here in Florida, and I'm at anatomy, and there's a big fitness culture here, and lots of we're kind of out towards this edge together, and there's a lot of people that are getting in the sauna, getting in the steam room, getting in the cold, and there's a dose that is a medicine for everyone, and then there's a dose that becomes a poison, and that's anything that shifts our state of mind. And so the challenge here is going to be different for all of us. So with anything, we start low, we go slow, our bodies adapt. So that's a long-winded way of me saying, hey, even if you're getting in there or starting out with a 10-second cold shower, and or getting into the ice bath for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, and then maybe a little bit more the next time. I know that might seem a little bit intense, but again, this is deliberate cold exposure, and it's gradual cold exposure as well. And then again, there's incredible hormetic values, and this is super buzzy in our culture, and a way for all of us to get more motivation and more focus. So again, do this safely, and again, we start low and we go slow. And this probably wouldn't be for everyone. If you got a heart condition or high blood pressure or something, consult with your doctor or medical professional. The sauna, something that is also buzzy in our culture right now. I remember Tim Ferriss a few years back put a podcast out with Dr. Rhonda Patrick. She does a lot of research around sauna. And whether this is the next performance enhancing drug, is getting in the sauna. And the science of sauna is profound. Apparently in Finland, everyone has a sauna. It's not a cultural thing here. Like in the West, the people that have access to sauna definitely, most often, have access to resources. So there's a certain class of people, but in Finland, because this is integrated in their culture, everyone does sauna. So there's, again, really interesting data out of, I believe, the University of Finland that supports that sauna can increase our lifespan, up to 50% reduction of all-cause mortality. That's cancer, heart disease. Definitely, it was cardiovascular health. So maybe I misspoke around cancer, but definitely this is good for our heart. The getting in the sauna acts as low-grade exercise, almost like a zone 2 or zone 1, where we're getting the benefits of exercise, but we're sedentary. We're just sweating out the toxins. And there's heat shock proteins that we are getting. And when we're doing this 20 minutes per day, 4 to 7 times per week, that's when we get the major benefit. That's what I've been doing as of late. And I've also noticed that it's been very, very helpful for my sleep scores on my Whoop device. So there's something happening while I'm doing the sauna, and that's equating to, when it comes to slumber, I'm out and my body is doing more of its recovery and restoration. So again, this was posited by Tim Ferriss and Dr. Rhonda Patrick as the next performance-enhancing drug in our culture, because it does help with recovery. And in terms of the mechanism, I'm sure that it also, I've heard that it produces natural growth hormone that we produce endogenously, not that we're taking like a steroid or anything, but something that our body just naturally produces. So those heat shock proteins signal, I believe, the human growth hormone, the natural endogenous human growth hormone. So we heal, our body can heal and recover. So that's, again, another hormetic stressor. And with the cold and with the sauna, again, the hormesis denotes that stress in a small amount. Like we've talked about, the cold might start with 10 seconds in a cold shower, and then you might work your way up to a 1 or 2 minute or 3 minute ice bath. But 20 minutes in the ice bath might kill somebody. So again, 2 minutes might be really, really good. So again, we're taking a small stressor. With the sauna, same thing. 20 minutes in the sauna might be very, very good and adaptive and beneficial, again, in cultivating recovery and resilience and detoxifying our body and cardiovascular health. All of these wonderful aspects, again, that most all of us want to have those. But if we're in there for 2 hours or 3 hours, that could be maladaptive. That could kill us, be extremely maladaptive. So again, the notion of hormesis is stressors in small amounts that are ultimately good for our body. They help our bodies become stronger, more resilient. The next is exercise. And getting out, exercise does so much for our body. It does elicit a stress response, cortisol and norepinephrine, the stress molecules, but it's good stress, and we all feel better afterwards. And as little as a 10-minute walk, I've heard Dr. Wendy Suzuki, a preeminent neuroscientist at NYU, that we get benefits of BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, and BDNF is known as Miracle-Gro for the brains. And again, we all want more of that, and that's equated to learning and focus and neuroplasticity. So when we're moving our bodies, we're getting that BDNF bubble bath that she spoke about in her wonderful book, Good Anxiety, Harnessing the Power of the Most Misunderstood Emotion. I did a whole podcast around good anxiety. And so again, exercise, moving our body, getting out, and that helps build muscle. It helps with insulin sensitivity. We become more resilient, and of course, our body will adapt. We can, we start where we stand. We do what we can, and then maybe tomorrow, maybe we do a little bit more. And again, this is going to be really adaptive and healthy long term for us. And then there's a downstream effect for exercise as well. We're getting out, we're moving our body, and then we're going to sleep better. And when we sleep better, we're going to have more energy, and we're going to have more opportunity for pushing ourselves more. And so again, it has the potential to set in this virtuous cycle of good perpetuating good. Breathwork, something that we've done a whole episode around breathwork. The Wim Hof is hypoxic breathing. We're breathing, kind of this rapid breathing, and how that can be extraordinarily beneficial. And that produces acute adrenaline in our system that's stressing our system. But yeah, when I'm practicing the breath work every morning upon waking, I do that the first thing. I'll go hydrate, have 16 to 32 ounces of water with a little bit of Himalayan sea salt, maybe some lemon, or maybe an element pack, or salt of the earth pack. And then I'm going to do 20 to 30 minutes of breath work. And I'm going to stress my system and prime my energies in a very adaptive manner. But yes, my system is flooded with adrenaline, but I'm in my PJs, at home. So I'm safe, but my body feels like it's not safe. So this is a way to cultivate resilience and to get used to having adrenaline in my body and get used to stress and to strengthen and reinforce my nervous system. So again, the breath work can be a hormetic stress that I encourage everybody to try. And again, this is going to stress our body in a healthy, adaptive manner. Maybe the Wim Hof method's intense and not for everyone. I'd say that probably 60 to 70% of my clients really gravitate towards that, but some don't. And maybe a more quiescent breath might make more sense, like box breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 second hold, 5 second exhale, 5 second hold, and so on. Or Huberman's NSDR, which I love that as well, and that can be really restorative, but it's a little bit less of a hormetic stressor and more of a way to regulate our nervous system. The last of our 5 hormetic stresses is fasting. And this is something that's super buzzy right now in our culture. Intermittent fasting is where we're having a feeding window of typically it's 6 to 8 hours per day where we're having calories. And then the remaining 16 to 18 hours, we're not having calories. And I think this is really aligned with our evolutionary roots. We've evolved from hunter-gatherer ancestors that did not always have food, so they would go without food. And right now we're in a comfort crisis. The creature comforts we're drowning in because we have so much ubiquity to food and unhealthy food, and these foods that create all this inflammation in our body that so many of us are sick. I heard the other day that 60 to 70% of our calories that we consume here in the West are highly processed foods, nutrient dead, not nutrient dense, but nutrient dead junk food. And this is not a video about nutrition, but that's just something to keep in mind that, again, fasting, the intermittent fasting is really buzzy for good reason in our culture. And the hormetic value is that at 16 hours, we start to produce, it's my understanding, autophagy, and the cellular repair. And, there was I believe a Japanese medical doctor, or it might have been a PhD, that won a Nobel Prize in medicine for discovering autophagy. And again, my lay understanding is that our healthy cells seek out damaged cells like Pac-Man, and that helps to rebuild our body. Again, from an evolutionary standpoint, we weren't meant to be eating and to have calories at all times. So when we take time away from food, all these miraculous processes start to happen in our body. Again, we have this cellular autophagy, mitophagy as well, I've heard, mitogenesis, where our mitochondria do the same thing, where the healthy mitochondria go out and they seek the damaged mitochondria. And again, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And this also, the fasting increases insulin sensitivity. I feel so gosh darn resilient. On the weeks where I execute on my fast. I do a 36-hour fast every single week. Some weeks, maybe 1 out of every 5 weeks, the calendar or busy will get in the way, and I won't execute on that. And those weeks for me are challenging. They're hard. I am far less resilient. Yes, I honor my commitments and I show up and I do my very best, but it just feels like a slog. Everything is a slog on those weeks. So again, the benefits of fasting, autophagy, and in improving insulin sensitivity, and just resilience as well, metabolic flexibility, all of it. These are all benefits that come from stepping away from food and letting our bodies work this miraculous process of healing and recovery. So hopefully you found value in this share around hormetic stressors. We covered the cold, sauna, exercise, breathwork, fasting. These are all healthy forms of stress that help our body adapt and become more resilient, and also equate to longevity. All of these hormetic stressors all will help us live a longer, more vibrant life. So again, I'm not trying to overwhelm you with, I'm just inviting possibility. And I think it's, again, really important to start where you stand. And then we do more the next day, potentially. And if where you stand right now is again, getting out and getting that morning walk, getting a little morning sunlight, and then that walk after dinner, that's a great place to start. And then maybe we build upon that. Maybe we start to implement some of these ideas and some of these strategies to be healthier, happier, and stronger and more resilient. And I love this idea of hormetic stressors are a way that we choose our struggle. And the words of my mentor, Akshay Nanavati, he wrote a book called Firvana that was endorsed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, is that we find a worthy struggle, or struggle will find you. And when we're seeking out healthy, adaptive ways to struggle and to stress our body in an adaptive manner, in a good manner, good stress, that we're going to have less of bullshit incorporated stress and less drama, less struggle, less of things that we can't control will be thrusted on us. So again, when we're choosing our struggle, we're consciously choosing to do hard things, and that paradoxically is going to make our life easier. I know that might sound strange to hear, but I believe in my heart of hearts that's true. Yes, I'll say that again. That paradoxically, choosing hard things will make our life easier. Hopefully you found value in this daily dose. If you are a high achiever looking to expand your impact, income, and inner peace, reach out. I've got a call link in the description below. It's 2026. Let's storm this year and have this be the best year ever, filled with momentum, clarity, and freedom. So much love to all of you. Love and peace. More on the Worth the Fight mission and message of hope and healing. Check out worththefightbook.org. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for listening.